So, viewers, we are all back with you right now. There is here along with me Veeru. We have all seen Shole's Veeru. Chucky piecing, piecing, piecing. But yes, this Veeru is not like that. Highly educated, a professional to the core, someone who has achieved success in several areas of life, yet slipped into alcoholism. He has seen hell and come back. So, the magnanimity of Viru to share his experience so that people do not experience it themselves is something that I first want to applaud before this. Before I just start this, let me just thank Varun Kapur for sharing his channel with us. Our journey together, all of us here, it started with Varun Kapoor for most of us when Sushant Singh Rajput passed away. At the time, we all came to know that he was given drugs without his knowledge, and he suffered a lot due to that, and finally, he lost his life. At the time, a lot of young people got together, and we realized that there were many types of addiction, and there is no one to talk with. There is no one to share the trauma with. There is no one to go and ask questions. There is no one where they can approach if to get guidance. Everything needed money, and there were a lot of quacks around. So people were not sure what to do. At this point of time, we felt that we must start something so that people become more aware about what are the different kinds of addictions and how we need to get out of it. So today we have Viru, and I want to introduce you to Viru. Viru is someone who has been to hell and back, I already said. Alcoholism is the hardest addiction to kick, says most of the people. And he has conquered and stayed sober for several years. With an MBA in marketing, a laudable and enviable career graph where he rose from a sales executive to area manager, divisional manager, global head, and CEO. He has seen a meteoric rise in his career. His core competencies, oh, they span the whole 9 yards: business development, retail chain management, franchisee development, project management, education management, so many things. He's an entrepreneur now. He's a national boxer and a swimmer. He comes from defense background. And I will call him a warrior and a winner. So, with this brief introduction to a great person, I just will launch the conversation because he is going to reveal to us what exactly he went through so that those who are on the brink can safeguard themselves. Those who are already in there know how to swim out of those whirlpools and come out of it. So, Viru, during the conversations we had, you shared with me your personal struggle with alcoholism, and you volunteered to share your journey so that people can take a leaf out of your life and transform themselves and become the best version of themselves. Can you can you please share for your audience here how your tryst with alcohol started? You're free to talk. It is a free flow conversation. In between, if I have any questions, I will ask. Towards the end, we will take questions from the audience. If anybody wants to come on screen, also, we will share the uh, link and people can join. Yes. Thank you, Viru. Over to you.
Good evening, friends. Good evening in India, that is. And good morning, good afternoon to wherever you are in whichever part of the world. First of all, thanks to my high power, my God that I believe in, for this wonderful opportunity to share with you something very intricate, which we do not actually share outside the rooms, as we call it, in certain fellowships. But first of all, thank you, Girija ji, for giving me a wonderful and, in a nutshell, you gave my introduction to the point and much more actually for your kind words and thank you. Thanks to Varun Kapur for this wonderful platform. There are others too, and they would know without taking names. I'm saying this deliberately because I wanted to keep myself anonymous, so to say. basically because I'm going to be sharing with you something uh, very, very close that I have gone through. And it's not going to be really generic. Sometimes, like they caution before they send you a difficult
Yes.
video. So it is
Yes.
basically hold on to your seatbelts. I'm going to start passing it inward and hold on to your chest. So, yes,
There
I
is
would
some
like to
disturbance
start.
in your audio. Now it's okay. Yeah.
Okay, it's okay. Okay.
Yeah. Now it is
Please
clear.
tell me whenever there is a disturbance.
So that you
Okay.
don't. Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So the other thing from the show point of view is so aptly you have said
There is
is
disturbance again. Viru,
repeat
there is
again.
disturbance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now
Now it is clear. So please
now it
use
is
the
clear.
same. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I have shifted my position. Okay. So the heading which you have used for this particular platform for this particular topic is the ism. A lot of people concentrate only on alcohol. The ism part they forget.
Yes.
So for me, ism is the inner spiritual malady, which I'll come to a little later.
Yes.
But everybody has their own definition as they tread the journey of going through the alcoholism period, stopping, and then getting into recovery. For
Right.
different people, it is different things. A lot of people would say, I'm zero tolerance of alcohol, or I can do anything.
There is
Two
disturbance again.
things. Pardon me.
Uh,
Yeah.
for
So
different
one thing that comes along with the package,
Viru, just a minute. Hold on. There are
pardon me,
different
your
for
voice,
different people. You
your
said
voice is breaking.
uh,
Yeah.
there are different people for different things. You said. Then after that, we couldn't
Yeah.
hear.
Just coming to
So
my version of the definition.
yeah.
Yeah. So your voice was breaking now. Is my voice clear?
Yes. Now
Okay.
clear.
Okay. So everybody is tryst with alcoholism. Some people have a lot of skirmishes with alcohol. I didn't have that much skirmish in terms of the quantity of alcohol. And like I said, everybody discovers his own definition. To different people, it means different things. For me, it was alcoholism is an external manifestation of a deep seated emotional disorder. That was my main problem. My emotionalities were running at its lowest ebb. For everything and anything, I would get entangled with myself first in extreme emotions. And most of them
Yes.
were negative, overthinking, and those were the things. So, an emotional, deep seated disorder was there within me because kind of childhood that I went through. So, in the recovery process, we have to take our own inventory right from the
Viru,
time.
just before we
Yeah,
go into the recovery process, how did you start? Why did it start? I think that
I'm
will
coming
take
to
the
that. I'm
first.
coming.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it starts from the childhood, and you would say that okay, then alcohol is not there. So, alcohol need not be there. It is your mental frame, the mental makeup that happens because of your experiences. And what one develops, and in my case, was a deep seated resentment and anger against
Okay.
my father.
Yes.
In our fellowship, it is said that resentment and anger is the most dangerous enemy of an alcoholic or so that was planted at a very early age. My father was in the army, like you said, and I very jocularly said, always say in the fellowship, if you had placed Hitler and my dad together, you would reject me, you know. So to that effect, he hasn't tasted alcohol in his life, okay, in spite of being in the army.
Okay.
But his actions and behavior in the family, especially against my father. So these were deep-seated resentments that I had.
There is too
So
much
much
of
so,
disturbance.
that I wanted to kill him.
Varun,
Too much of
sorry, disturbance, Viru.
Viru. Tell me now.
Yeah, now it is clear.
Okay.
So, are you seated at the same place and still it's happening?
No, now I moved. First, also I moved, and
That's what I'm saying. So,
so you tell
remain
me.
in one place where you are seated, where it
So
is
now
clear.
I am seated.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. From here, you continue,
Okay.
please. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So basically, that resentment and anger kept on growing. Okay.
Yeah.
Alcohol wasn't there in my life at that point in time. In fact, alcohol came much later.
Was
Like
there
you said,
resentment and
I
anger?
was
Why was there resentment and anger?
resentment and anger was my dad's behavior, especially
Mm.
towards my mother and my siblings as
Okay.
such,
How
and
many
to me.
siblings do you
I had a brother who I lost, or younger to me by 3 years in the month of January,
have? Okay.
and I have a youngest sister is there who's married and she's in Hyderabad.
Okay.
Okay, okay. So basically, at the hand of ill treatment, so to say, inverted commas,
Mhm.
I was a rebel,
Okay.
and I had to leave home very early, and I
Okay.
was self-educated, and I had to do the struggles. I have stayed hungry on 3 occasions because I had nothing, and then I had to work in bookstalls, hosiery shops, and educate myself. And then you said got into the corporate world. This played heavily onto my mind,
Exactly.
and I wanted to kill him. And it almost took place because I was nurturing this idea. This is the intensity of the resentment and anger.
Yeah.
When I almost took the step, I hadn't seen my father for 13 years. He
Got you.
wasn't there in my life.
Yeah.
But I was nurturing this resentment and anger. Suppose I was to be in a party with you, I would have a smiling face. I was the
Yes.
life of the party. But the
Mm.
background processing,
Mm.
it was not the quantity of alcohol. One drink of alcohol would change my personality.
Oh God.
So that change in personality, your thinking
Yeah.
is the ism. So
So,
that is
what
an inner
age did you
spiritual
start that?
malady.
What age did you start your alcohol?
I started very late because maybe when I got into the corporate world at around 21, 22,
Okay.
till
So,
then I was heavily in sports.
okay.
And
Okay.
even then I was a two-pegger on a weekend,
Oh, yeah.
which,
Okay.
yeah, but it doesn't mean that I've not crossed the limit at parties at times. But
Okay.
I used to be not a very heavy drinker. It was for me the unmanageabilities that came along with the ism, inner
Oh,
spiritual malady. See, I'll
yeah.
just take you a little bit as to why our thoughts are very different from the doctor's opinions and outside world.
Mm.
Is that we've always had friends in the different fellowships, and these friends were the medical fraternity, they were the clergy, they would be of different walks in life. So the people
Yes.
who defined alcoholism for us, one
Mm.
was Dr. Silkworth. If you go through the big book or the basic text of Alcoholics Anonymous, so
Right.
it starts with the doctor's opinion, but
Mm.
that's it. After that, it is the experiences of the people in the members who are in recovery.
Right.
Their experiences are taken over. For example, they say, and we believe that alcoholism is a twofold disease. One is obsession of the mind.
Yeah.
Once that thought comes to an alcoholic that he should have a drink, then nothing can stop him. And the
Yes.
people who come in between are your true loved ones, your parents, your spouses, etc. And they become your enemy number one, but he will not disclose that.
Yes.
Okay. The
Yeah.
second aspect, for want of a medical terminology, it is called physical allergy,
Mm.
which means it is actually insensitivity in your body to alcohol. If you have one drink, you must have more, more, more. The
Yeah.
same reaction is not there if you give me 3 glasses of lassi. It'll
Yeah.
go very well. I can't have the fourth. But an alcoholic can consume the whole bottle. So it is these two things, but its manifestation or the
So
result
first,
is spiritual.
So you mean to say
Yeah.
that,
In the
uh,
sense, there is a spiritual degradation.
correct.
Yeah. So there
So,
is a spiritual degradation that happens. It starts with lying to yourself first. I'm okay. The denial is very, very strong. He says,
okay.
I'm okay. The world can see that you're not okay, but he's okay. He will
Yeah.
never
He
say that.
says
He
that
says,
he's okay. But in his
yeah.
heart, doesn't he know? No.
Pardon me. In his heart, also,
Does he believe that
he
he's okay, or does he only lie to others that he's okay, but in his heart he knows? What is it?
in his heart he thinks that he can control.
Okay.
No alcoholic or an addict starts that substance with an intention to go drunk or to go haywire.
Right.
He says, I will drink 1 or 2 pegs and I'll
Yeah.
be okay, but he can't stop. And you
Hmm.
keep the bottle away from him, the obsession is so high
Yeah.
that he starts lying to himself. I'm okay, I'm just going to have 1 peg.
Hmm.
The first drink does the damage for us. If you go to a doctor, the doctor says,
Hmm.
drink like a human being, man. You're drinking like an animal. We say first drink does the damage. You
Yeah.
don't drink, there's no chance of getting, it's easier said than done. Okay.
Yeah.
And it relates back to history in the sense
Hmm.
Alcoholics Anonymous started on 10th of June 1935 in Eastern US. That was when our co-founders got sober. The dilemma or the paradox of it is one of our co-founders, Bill W.,
Hmm.
was in the army, been through the First World War.
Okay.
He studied law. He was a stockbroker.
Okay.
His experiences said that when you talk to an alcoholic,
Hmm.
you tend to be away from alcohol. So he went for a conference and he had this urge to drink, but he
Hmm.
was in a different city. So he
Yeah.
called up the local directory. He had the last coin, and then finally somebody referred him to
Hmm.
a surgeon who was a hopeless drunk, who became our second co-founder, and his name was Dr. Bob, and he
Okay.
was a surgeon. So the message of alcoholism was given by a layperson to a surgeon,
Okay.
and both of them got sober, and that's how it started. But was alcoholism not there before that?
Of course,
There
it was
was.
must have been there. Yeah,
Yes, and it
always.
was a very grave thing. So our history tells us
Hmm.
that there were other good people like Carl Gustavo Jung, the psychoanalyst, the
Hmm.
psychiatrist.
Right.
There was this person who was a true friend of Alcoholics Anonymous. Then it
Hmm.
was not Alcoholics Anonymous, it was of alcoholics. So the
Okay.
story is, the truth is that there was a very big business tycoon who
Hmm.
came to Carl Jung.
Yeah.
And herein lies the definition, the true definition, which he gave. He
Yeah.
said, I have got everything.
Hmm.
Can I not have a sober life? Is it so hopeless that I must die drinking? He wanted to get
Yeah.
sober, but he could not. So Carl Jung told him, yes, there is a way out. You
Hmm.
will need to go through a spiritual awakening
Hmm.
by cultivating humility,
Hmm.
clearing away the wreckage that you have created while drinking.
Hmm.
And once you have started staying away from your drink, give it freely to somebody else because you got it freely.
Correct.
So these were the 4 pillars as such. So much so for the history part of it. One last point, because it is the ism. The program has been taken from different religions, from society, but
Hmm.
most of it has come from the Bible. And here we are not talking about any religion because we don't believe in any religion. It is the spirituality. Like you very rightly said,
Hmm.
uh, people who are afraid of going to hell are in the religion aspect. People who've been to hell and come back, they see the spiritual point of it. So there was Robert Spears who data mined from the Bible 4 absolutes, which became the foundation of recovery for people. So,
Okay.
so much so from the history point of view. So, I would like to say what actually happened to me, if it's okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But
So, yeah,
you
tell
know,
me.
um, we just would like to understand what are the signs that tell you that you become an addict. You are talking about the recovery process, how the history of
Hmm.
Alcoholics Anonymous started and all that, but we want
Hmm.
to understand the true heart, or the cycle that the alcoholic goes through, the pain that he goes through, what
Yeah.
exactly happens, right? So that people also look at the situation with compassion,
Hmm.
empathy, and they
Hmm.
support him in coming out of it. Like, for you, I think it was a solo journey. You had a solo struggle. Your father was not there. uh, I do not know who else supported you other than Alcoholics Anonymous in the family, right? But for many, there are people who are suffering in the family along with them, to
Hmm.
help them come out of it. So it
Hmm.
would be great if you can tell us what are the signs that tell a person that I am becoming an alcoholic. When
Okay.
can he realize that and put a full stop to himself?
Okay.
कब वो उसको जान पाएगा? Even Hindi में भी you can talk, no problem. Of course, you are
Hmm.
very fluent in English, but audience, some of them like it Hindi also. Yes.
आप हुकुम कीजिए, उस लैंग्वेज में हम बात कर लेंगे, ऐसी
तो
बात नहीं
दोनों
है।
दोनों बात
हाँ।
मिक्स करके बात कर सकते हैं एकदम
तो मैं
कैजुअल।
हिंदी में भी बात करूंगा, थोड़ी सी मराठी भी डाल दूंगा उसमें,
नहीं, नहीं,
क्योंकि
मराठी नहीं चाहिए, बिकॉज़
नहीं चाहिए,
ऑडियंस
क्योंकि ठीक है,
हिंदी है।
अल्कोहलिक्स लाइक दिस कॉकटेल ना, सो तो यू आर वेरी राइट एक्चुअली। पता खुद को चलता नहीं है इतना आसानी से, जब तक वो रॉक बॉटम में नहीं जाता।
हाँ।
उसको महसूस होता है कि
हुँ,
व्हाई, सी, द फैमिली विल कीप ऑन टेलिंग हिम, आफ्टर अ पॉइंट इट बिकम्स अ नैग फॉर मी,
हुँ,
so I start staying away. But I realize, but
या,
that denial is so high that I
हुँ,
say I'm okay. So
या,
when you come into recovery, somebody gets you into recovery. It's usually the family or the doctor or your society. You know,
हुँ,
people go blank. We call blackouts.
या,
And when he has these blackouts,
हुँ,
he can't remember how he got back home.
करेक्ट,
He doesn't remember what has happened.
हुँ,
That's because the brain cells die and all that. I'm not a medical specialist, but this is what we say in the fellowship.
ओके,
So when he comes to the fellowship, he is given a set of questions
हुँ,
that he must answer only. What
ओके,
we usually give him is a list of 20 questions, which
हुँ,
is not of Alcoholics Anonymous. It
ओके,
is from Johns Hopkins Institute of Baltimore.
हुँ,
The 20 questions have been designed, and you have to simply answer in yes or no.
ओके,
And it is like, a lady being pregnant, she can't be half pregnant, she has to be full pregnant, or
absolutely.
she's
I
not
know that
pregnant
people
at
are
all.
not pregnant, there is no halfway in
Yes,
between.
yes.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
they are advised to take that, and you answer it
Okay,
to thine own self. True is the principle.
yes,
And out of the 20, they say that if you have answered three in the affirmative,
हुँ,
then there are chances that you could be an alcoholic.
okay,
And if you answer more than that, then you are definitely an alcoholic. Now it is
yeah,
up to that person to take heed, to come into the fellowship or not to come
हुँ,
into the fellowship. Because the fellowship has only one rule for membership: the desire to stop drinking. There are no
correct,
dues, no fees, nothing.
okay.
So
There
this
should
is
be
this is as
even a
far.
commitment, right? Then you have to go regularly. That only if you
Yes,
have that desire that I must stop. So without that
yes.
realization that I have become an alcoholic, how will that desire come? मेरे को पता ही नहीं चलता है मुझे. I am not feeling guilty at all, or I am not feeling that I am losing the best part of myself, and
Mm,
uh, I am losing the best. My family is losing the time that they can spend with me. So
mm.
if I do not realize that, from where the commitment will come? How will I go and do that?
That's what I was saying. Usually it doesn't.
Okay.
So
So
somebody, when you
family has
come into the,
chosen
when you
freedom, is it?
come, yeah, I'll
Okay.
tell you three stages of it. One
Huh.
is if you're not mentally and bodily affected, and if
Hmm.
you're willing, or if you're made willing by your family members to attend one or two meetings.
Hmm.
We believe that there is power in the rooms. I
Okay.
am a classic example who is sober from day one, from my first meeting. I'll come
Okay.
to it how it happens also. That is
So
where the
who took
ism
you
part
there?
is.
Who took you there for
Yeah,
you?
yeah. Nobody took me there.
Oh,
I
on
am
your
one
own.
of those different thing. Is my ex-wife was a clinical psychologist,
Okay.
I was involved in making reports for her.
Hmm.
She was counseling a shippy and his
Okay.
wife. They had come for marriage counseling. My
Hmm.
ex-wife told that person, I will counsel your wife, but you need to go to Alcoholics Anonymous. He threw
Okay.
a fit. This is the
Hmm.
denial. He said, what do you think? I'm a drunkard. I'm
Hmm.
not going to Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm not an alcoholic.
Okay.
Her words were on my mind when she said, Alcoholics Anonymous is a spirituality program. It has got nothing to do with alcohol.
Yeah.
When I almost killed my father, I
Hmm.
was groping at 12 in the midnight
Yeah.
where I should go because I realized my spirituality had degraded so low that I can take somebody's life and that to my father's life.
Hmm.
So I went to Just Dial, called them up, obtained the number, and the next day morning I got directed to a meeting. And the miracle for me, the ism, the grace
But did
happened
you
to me
share with
in
anybody at
the
home that you had those thoughts of, of doing away with your father, that with your mom, with your wife, or with anybody?
No, my mom and father were very away from me. I was a nuclear family with my daughter, very young, and my wife, but I never discussed with them. It was
Okay.
something which I kept very close to my heart that one day I will
Mhm.
have this perfect mother and that I will kill him. And
Okay.
that is what got me into the rooms. So the first step of how a person who comes into the meeting, what happens? Why does he sober up?
Mhm.
Is we are told the big book, which is the basic text, the literature, the program comes much later. We choose a guide which comes much later. But what is it that makes you sober from day one?
Hmm.
It is when you go in abject surrender. Whom
Yes.
do you surrender? To some power that is bigger than you.
Yeah.
An alcoholic or an addict always thinks he's the biggest superpower. But the day he knows that he has to submit himself to somebody,
Mhm.
then the grace of God, it is said that it shines through. That is why it is the ism. The spirituality aspect permeates
Yeah. Inner spiritual malady, you said.
inner spiritual malady. So we have a very common this thing in
Hmm.
that we are given a 1 day's reprieve to be away from alcohol, and it is contingent to your spiritual level for that day. So
Okay.
all you need to do is raise your spiritual level, and how it happens is a lot of us have given up on God because we blame God. If you were
Yeah.
there, you should have made you. I wouldn't have gone through this.
Okay.
So I lost my connect with God. The day I connected and saying that no, you are my superpower, you take care. I cannot handle this. This is exactly what happened to Bill W, a co-founder. He was a hopeless case, and one fine day he just went on his knees and shouted, saying that if you are there, God, reveal to me. I don't want to lead this life. I am in abject surrender. He had certain signs which is shared with the doctor.
Correct. So
This is
there,
where
interestingly,
if yeah, just one more thing. If the doctor had said that
huh?
you are hallucinating,
Hmm.
gone. It would have been the
Yes.
end of it. He
Correct.
said you've gone through a spiritual awakening,
Huh.
and that is where the Alcoholics Anonymous actually started. Not on that date, you know.
Correct. Yes. So,
Yeah.
like you said, the person doesn't realize that he is an alcoholic or doesn't admit to himself. खुद को तो agree नहीं
Hmm.
करते. So the relationship with family, everything suffers.
Hmm.
So how does alcohol
Right.
affect relationship with spouse, children? Can we talk on that so that people realize that it is not only
Yes.
about themselves? I am taking alcohol. Why does it bother you? आई एम गिविंग
Yeah.
यू व्हाट इज योर ड्यू आई एम गिविंग
Yeah.
बच्चों का फीस तो कर रहा हूँ तुम्हारा घर का
Hmm.
खर्चा तो दे रहा हूँ तो व्हाई डू यू हैव अ
Hmm.
प्रॉब्लम इफ यू हैव अल्कोहल so
Hmm.
can you please talk about how it impacts relationship because you said that you're
Yes.
now the marriage is impacted luckily
Hmm.
you have been able to become a good father because of your own awareness and the spiritual awakening so can you talk about
Yeah.
how it impacts family relationship what others go through yes
Okay. Just before this, there are, we are told that we are unmanageable over alcohol. We have to
huh
concede to this fact. But what we call the first step. It's in two parts. One is unmanageable. One is we cannot win against alcohol.
Hmm.
We accept defeat. But
Hmm.
the other part is my life was unmanageable.
Life was?
So since I didn't have so much quantity of alcohol, my guide told me let's concentrate on your unmanageability. He
Hmm.
made me write down a list:
Okay.
social, relational, financial, commercial, your career wise, sexual,
Okay.
spatial, all those things. Now,
All the
what
issues that you had in
happened
those
was when I
areas.
wrote it down, yes. So I
Hmm.
had stagnated my own growth because of this
Okay.
unmanageabilities. The moment my father came, it also
Hmm.
has, it won me a gold medal in my national boxing. Because in
Yeah, yeah.
practicing on my kickback, I would have my father say, "Manage it." So, but it was an unmanageability.
Hmm.
So, various spheres of unmanageabilities we have to address, and they are linked to
When you
your
say
character defects, which
unmanageable,
have started.
1 minute. When
Yes.
you say unmanageable,
Yeah.
do you mean to say that,
Hmm.
say in a social situation, so you
Yes.
are supposed to behave in a particular way and you behave differently, that which probably will
Differently.
be unacceptable to others, maybe in anger or maybe in resentment.
Yes.
Do you? Is it that you're
Yeah.
talking about unmanageability?
Yes. So it is, on the same lines with the slightly tweaked per unmanageability. Like you rightly said, now social. It could be
Yeah.
in the sphere of working. It could be
Hmm.
with friends.
Hmm.
The alcoholic, he says, me,
Hmm.
I am. It
Right.
starts with me, ends with me. So my
Okay.
relationship with you is,
Hmm.
I look down upon you. I won't say that, but
Hmm.
in the workplace, if I have to report to a lady boss,
Hmm.
the person is gone. That's why in workplace, we carry the message to the workplaces also. So in the unmanageable aspect, now financially, I was very good. I was
Hmm.
earning like nobody's business, but I also spent like no tomorrow. I didn't spend
It
it
is again
so much
getting
on
disturbed.
alcohol, but lavish.
Disturbance in the voice,
Yeah.
Biru. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Now,
Now clear. Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah,
Hmm.
keep guiding me. So let's take an example. I'll take very, intense with me. One was the financial. I was in the top level of the corporate world. I was
Disturbance
earning
again.
very, very heavily.
1 minute. One.
No.
You settle down first.
Hello.
Where you were seated, because again there
Yeah,
is
I am in one
disturbance.
place now.
Now it is clear.
Just tell
Yes.
me. I think your voice is breaking for me. Anyways, okay.
Now
Is
here.
better?
Yes. Yes. It is clear.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I'll take two unmanageabilities which will come, very clearly. One is the financial.
Right.
By God's grace, I was in the top echelons of career, like you mentioned. I was
Hmm.
being paid much more than the normal person,
Hmm.
but I used to be spending more than I was earning. So there
Okay.
was no particular planning, and it was for grandiosity. And the main problem about an addict or an alcoholic, even if he doesn't have, he wants to show that he's got too much. And when he's
Yeah.
got, he just splurges. So my financial unmanageability was crazy. I didn't have savings. And
Hmm.
if I had been a rock bottom case, and I've seen this in the fellowship, people have sold the milk of their children to drink. They've sold off everything. Fortunately, and we call it as yet principle. As yet, it hadn't happened to me, but it
Hmm.
could have. Now,
Okay.
coming to the other less talked about, and that is why I wanted this anonymity part, is the
Hmm.
sexual unmanageability. A
Hmm.
lot of people keep it behind closed doors. Even in Alcoholics Anonymous, we have something known as the closed meetings where only members are there.
Hmm.
Outsiders, well wishers are not allowed.
Hmm.
So, in the sexual unmanageability was again related to my resentment and anger. My
Okay.
father was the only person from the village who became an army officer. We had huge houses. He took it
Hmm.
upon himself to call all our relatives,
Hmm.
educate them, and get them married off within each other.
Wow.
And
Hmm.
they would be there. So I had
Yeah.
a lot of relatives at home, but I never
Okay.
had any relationships with them because of my
Okay.
resentment and anger. I felt always denied.
Yeah.
So sexually, I would see those people match made and they would be going like a couple, I would blackmail them. I have used my aunts and nieces and everybody in resentment of getting back at my father.
Okay.
This may come across as a very hard hitting thing for you, but I have sexually exploited all these people. And I
Okay.
was thinking that I was getting back at my father. Anything that would insult my father, I would do.
Mm.
Other unmanageabilities in the career, yes, I had a smiling face. My boss were happy because I was a good worker. But
Mm.
in my mind, I was constantly plotting against even my boss the moment I thought about my dad.
Okay.
So the preoccupation led for me to go to the glass a little more often than I did.
So, did you think that by hurting those women, you will spoil
Hmm.
the reputation of your father, and that is how you are getting back at him? How was it? How did
Yes.
it work? Yeah. Okay.
One was the fact that they are staying in my house. I am being
Okay.
denied. If I was supposed to get 10 out for the upbringing, I was getting one because nine was distributed with these people. One
Right.
was this. Two,
Yeah.
because I hated my father so much and they were related to my father.
Okay. Got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and they were brought here to be educated and get married off within another set of, the males
Yeah.
who were educated and finally they would get married.
And
But
also, the
I would
pain
see them
mother was suffering
developing.
through all this.
Yes, mother was there, and my mom knew because my mom would confide in me, being the eldest, about
Hmm.
what my dad did outside, which is not mentionable here. And I
Okay.
don't wish to go in that domain,
Yeah.
but you can put your imagination to wings. And my mom would share that with me, and that would further make me, I want to kill him now,
Oh God.
you know.
I know.
And I had two occasions I had to beat up my father to protect my mother. And
Okay.
on both those occasions, I kicked him in his ribs and he was lying on the floor. I'm saying this because I saw nothing but red and resentment. I didn't see my father.
Got it.
And out of he couldn't handle that ego, I was put into the lockups twice. And I
I
had to come out of
tell
this.
the viewers at this point of time that उतना you have gone through तो इतना कुछ कष्ट सहने के बाद young age पे still you have learned to forgive, rise beyond that, and now you're taking care of your father, 91 years old. So that has been a complete change, a revolution, a sort of transformation that has happened with you.
Hmm.
So that is why I'm so impressed and so happy to have met you and talked with you. And
Girija, it wasn't easy. I'll tell you the
I know it
process.
must have
In
been. That
this
is
part
why
of the recovery
process.
process, where first is okay, you accept defeat with alcohol or your unmanageabilities, as the case may be. You
Right.
have to find out where you are and work priority wise on that. If it is unmanageable, as in
So
my case, I had to work
unmanageability
on my
impacts
unmanageability.
your work, it impacts your relationships with people, right? So it affects the relationship with spouse, it affects the relationship with
Yes.
children, it affects the relationship with
Mhm.
siblings, in the office, the other people who work with you. So you mean to
Yes.
say that you do not treat them as equals. You
Not at equal. I'm always the superior.
okay.
When I'm in that ism, I'm
Hmm.
always the superior. I may not show it.
You don't drink and go to work.
You
Still,
don't.
does
A
it happen?
lot of people drink and go to work also. I didn't.
Okay.
But it is not that. It is that ism which I'm carrying. No? That inner spiritual malady, although the alcohol is outside,
Right.
but I'm taking that ism to the work.
Got it.
And
It's
yeah,
already
why
burned
should I,
into your
why should I report to Girija? Who's Girija? What has she seen in life? I have seen life. So
okay.
this is not. I will tell Girija. I will have a smiling face and say good morning, boss, and everything and all.
Mm.
But I will not. That resentment will be still there because at the back of the mind, I am resentful against, and I'm fearful. It is the fear and the resentment that if
Is
my
there
father were
resentment
to
towards,
control me again.
because you had a resentment towards your father? Any authority figure you resented? Is it?
Hmm.
I'm just trying to understand
Not
this.
really, not really. But the moment dad popped in, I
Mm.
would see my father knew. If you
Okay.
were in a normal circumstances telling me nicely that yes, do this, do that, because my father had a very authoritarian way, and the moment you came across on any one particular moment authoritarian, my dad would be
There.
between you and
Your dad
yes,
there. Yeah.
yes. So
Got
that resentment, anger had to be worked upon.
it. Hmm.
We have something known as making amends.
Okay.
It wasn't easy for me.
I
First
know.
of all, you had to make a list
Very
of
well.
people that you want to forgive and make amends. Amends is not like saying sorry.
Yeah. Micha
Amends
Vichram
is
nahi hai.
more than that. First of all, for that, you need to repent.
Yeah.
And then you need to make good. Now, every time you are saying that no, he did this. We are told it's not about the other. You have to keep your side of the street clean. The
Very good.
recovery is for you,
Wow.
not for him. The program is for you, not with him. You were not responsible for your disease because it was under influence, but you are bloody well responsible for your recovery. So,
Yes.
so it is that hard hitting, and we practice tough love, very
Okay.
much so.
So what
Tough
you
love
do?
is like, a lot of people say, no, tread with, kids' glove with him, treat him this, you comply to everything. Sorry. Tough
Hmm.
love is being stern. It is like administering a bitter pill which is sugar coated, but the effect has to be there.
Yeah.
No means no. He will rebel. No, that is what he is. But
Yeah.
once he is in the program and you're God, he will say, I don't want to go. You will have to go. You say you love me, you love my family, then prove it. Go to this meeting for 2 days for my sake. So, this is an example of tough love. Or he says, no, I don't want to eat now. He said, why? No, you eat. So, a lot of people say, not stay away from drink. How? How do you stay away from drink? It's easier said than done.
Yeah.
So we are told before the program is given to you, there are certain slogans, which is we have a book called Staying Sober, Living
Okay.
Sober. So
Hmm.
one of the program is the HALT program, and HALT comes in two ways. One is
Hmm.
for the newcomer when he comes.
Hmm.
He is fine. He's listening to the sharings. He's got his identification. He wants to recover. But he says,
Correct.
I can't stay away from the alcohol.
Hmm.
The moment I get out of this meeting, I'm going to be headed for the bar.
Oh
So
God.
one is the love that he gets within the fellowship. Now outside
Hmm.
also people talk of love.
Yeah.
लेकिन जैसे लंगड़ा लंगड़े का दुख जानता है, अंधा
Exactly.
अंधे का दुख जानता है, एक एडिक्ट और अल्कोहलिक उनका दुख जानता है. So we are told hunger. Like here
Hmm.
the family is saying, you know, eat. He's saying
Correct.
no. So he's told in the fellowship he doesn't require anything else. He adheres to that. If you are hungry, then you are
Absolutely.
agitated.
Hmm.
So hunger, anger,
Hmm.
stay away. Like some doctors would say, no, no, no. When they are with the friends and all, like, you just avoid them. Here we are told don't go to slippery places, which means bars, parties, whenever, and your old friends. You just
Yeah.
have to give them away till you are build your foundation. Hunger, anger, loneliness.
Okay.
Now you may be with people,
Right.
but you don't be lonely in your thought because you need to be amongst your people, the
Very
recovering people.
true. You may be with
Tea
many
is
people
tiredness.
feel lonely. Yeah.
Yeah, tiredness. So tea, tiredness. A lot of times the working people say, आज बहुत थक गया यार, थोड़ा थोड़ा पीते हैं. You know,
Yeah.
I'm very tired. Let's have a drink. So they say, don't get hungry, angry, lonely, and tired. For the person who is recovered also, but there is a chance that he might slip.
Hmm.
Like I was so disturbed in my recovery before I forgave my father, I would
Hmm.
tell my sponsor or my guide that I'm
Hmm.
still getting those, not the obsession to drink, but I'm getting irritable. So he
Yeah.
says, halt. And I used to tell him, Mr. Sponsor, halt is for the newcomers. He said, no. He
Hmm.
says, you are hungry because you gave up your career to become a consultant to be with your family.
Right.
You're
Okay.
still hungry for that.
Hmm.
You're lonely because you don't align with anybody else. You are in service, but in your mind, it is that mental fatigue which is happening. So tiredness and loneliness, there it's seating you.
Right.
Hunger, anger, you're angry with yourself.
Yeah.
So these are things which are more understood in the recovery. For the
Okay.
outside people, it is difficult. So that is why I'm trying my best to get into that, you know.
Yeah. Correct. But do you
So
think you
hmm,
are talking about tough love? But when a man is independent, he is earning by himself. He has got,
hmm,
he operates his bank account. And when you
hmm,
cook food, you give him food. But if he refuses, he's outside and he doesn't come home, and he goes on taking whatever. There, because I've seen women who tell me that, salary mila, not very rich people also, even poor
hmm,
people, their husbands will go,
hmm.
salary milke 2 दिन में पूरा salary khatam, because they are spending it like that and they don't come home at all. It is over. So what, how can the women take control of that, right? How do they practice
Okay,
tough love? They don't listen.
okay. So now your voice is breaking. So am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are audible. Yes.
Your voice is breaking. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. You are audible.
Hello.
Go. Yeah. You are,
Your voice is breaking. So am I audible?
you are audible.
I
You are
can't hear
audible.
you.
You go ahead. Go ahead.
I can't hear you. Okay. So there are two things to this: tough love and USA. So every
Hmm.
alcohol you must have heard. तेरे बाप का पीता हूँ क्या? खुद कमाता हूँ.
Correct.
हाँ, तुमको घूमने को लेके जाता हूँ.
Yeah.
खाना का देता हूँ, रेंट देता हूँ, या घर में मेरा है. But that doesn't stay for too long.
Okay.
And this is a helpless situation. That is why when a lady has to approach,
Hmm.
they go to Alcoholics Anonymous,
Hmm.
and we have what is called a 12-step call, where
Hmm.
two members, not a single member, two members or more, go
Hmm.
to that person's house
Okay.
and share a story and encourage him to come to the meeting. On your own, अल्कोहलिक किसी के बाप का नहीं सुनेगा जब वो शराब पी चुका होता है. वो खुद की भी नहीं सुनता. सलमान खान का डायलॉग है ना,
Correct.
कमिटमेंट कर दी. एक बार मैंने कमिटमेंट कर दी पीने की, तो मैं अपने आप की भी नहीं सुनता.
Correct.
So it is difficult. The tough
Yeah.
love comes only when he is in the rooms, or usually at home when you try to practice without this support of a fellowship. Then
Okay.
there is always a skirmish. In my
Yes.
case,
Hmm.
till such time that I had my resentment and angers against my father, I was very good with everybody. The
Okay.
moment I came to the program, it's not so easy. The program made me stop thinking resentful against my father. It started coming
Okay.
out in the family.
Oh.
So when I
Okay.
never spoke a ill thing with my spouse, I would do that. I would speak
Okay.
ill. Till that time,
Okay.
it didn't matter. You do anything. I'm happy killing my father in my thoughts.
Oh God.
You
Yes.
know.
Yeah.
So your video
If
stopped.
you cannot do that to him, then you take it out on your
So now,
spouse.
yeah. So it goes. You have to give vent somewhere. It is
Yeah.
only when you come to a recovery program. Now, we
Correct.
are not saying that we are the only ones, or Alcoholics Anonymous is the only one. That there are rehabilitation centers, there are
Centers.
hospitals, there are, even inverted commas, babus, buas, sadhus. You try anything, but
Mm.
the track record of a faith-based program of Alcoholics Anonymous
Mm.
since the last 87 years, over 60 lakh people. And I won't say people who have recovered. There are more members, but there are 60
Mm.
lakh people who have already recovered. Some of them are no more. But it is not the
Okay.
individual, it is the family that has recovered. It's a family disease. So
Yeah.
the fellowship has, like you said, the lady, what does she do? She goes
Yeah.
to an Al Anon meeting, which is a
Okay.
family groups meeting, as to when your alcoholic is in recovery. How
Mm.
do you behave? Stop blaming yourself. You're not the cause.
Mm.
Let him do what he is to do. The
Mm.
tools for handling him are given there, which tough love is one of the things.
Okay.
So it is a journey that you have to go through.
Mm.
Now, apart from this, there is something known as Alateen also.
Mm.
That is for the children. See, the husband and wife, have a
Yeah.
choice of getting divorced. The child does not have a choice.
Absolutely.
They are
Yeah.
torn in between. And I've gone through this.
Yes.
We made a choice. My child didn't know what to do. I had to go through 8 years of separation to win back my child before I divorced.
I
I
know.
made us settle down and everything. And today we are inseparable. And so everything is happy. So it's not necessary that a divorce is a bad word. Okay.
Mm. Yeah.
I'm not recommending that, but
Yes.
sometimes it is like this. I was unmanageable. I couldn't handle anything else. My priority was recovery.
Right.
And when I'm in recovery, I'm just like that alcoholic, but now not drinking, now not resentful, but prioritizing my recovery. So it's a selfish program, they say,
Mm.
and I'm looking after myself. You
Right.
come in between, I'm not drinking, then I'll now fire you. So our differences grew. In that differences, there were many other things which I don't want to mention over here. And it had nothing to do with violence.
Right.
It was something different.
Yeah.
And we decided that's the best way.
Correct.
So the unmanaged is बम्बई की भाषा में बोलते हैं ये सबसे हलकट बीमारी है घर वाले ही नहीं समझते
Okay.
बाकी सब समझ जाएंगे
Mm.
for example the alcoholic is really having he's on the verge of getting an attack
Mm.
and he complains that I'm going through this the household people रोज का नाटक है मरने दो मर जाएगा तो अच्छा है I'm talking about cases that have gone really extreme this is I have seen when we go for 12 stepping मर
Okay.
जाए a person who's not an alcoholic he comes and he's got some gastric problem and
Mm.
he says कि यार सीने में दर्द हो रहा है
Mm.
they will rush him to the hospital.
Absolutely. Correct.
So in our there is a pamphlet which we say alcoholics and alcoholics anonymous and the alcoholic and alcoholism per se in
Mm.
which the opening line it says the alcoholic is the most dissatisfied disgruntled depressed person. He's
Mm.
not happy with himself against his wishes he is drinking.
Oh, but he wants to stop, but he's drinking still.
Yeah, he's still drinking and the denial will not let him go. So the
Yeah.
tough love is to that's what the ladies try, no? But
Yes.
then after that they've ठीक है तुम नहीं पियोगे तो अच्छे हो लेकिन पीते हो तो
The,
हैवान हो जाते हो.
the Alcoholic Anonymous peer group, is it tough with him and make him understand how to restrain himself?
Yes, like I told you, first is the he says na yeah I want to but कैसे? So the halt program is given to him. Then the
Huh.
phone numbers are given to him, meeting lists are given to him. कि
Okay.
आज तो तुम यहाँ पे मीटिंग in Mumbai there are close to 200 meetings.
Hmm.
Countrywide there are over 1500 meetings.
Hmm.
Any given time of the day you can go to a meeting.
Hmm.
Now after the pandemic there are online meetings worldwide and you can log in and get experiences of different kinds. So
Okay.
you know how it works for that alcoholic. It is a group therapy. First thing, he
Okay.
comes inside and he says I'm not alone. So
Right.
that guilt goes away. I'm not alone. There are people who have
Many
recovered.
people doing it. Yeah, exactly.
Many people and they've recovered. And if he can come out of it,
Hmm.
I can come out of it. So he
Yeah,
gets that hope. So what do we share in the meeting is experience, strength, and hope.
very nice.
So this person benefits from that, you know.
Yeah. The
And
experience to other people who have gone through that and still come out of it will make him realize,
hmm,
oh, they have gone through all this, so
yeah,
I'm not bad.
yeah.
Yeah,
So there
absolutely.
are three pillars we say, the three legacies. One is this is the all this we are talking is recovery.
Huh.
The other thing, the unity aspect, he knows that these people are saving my life.
Right.
So I must align and there has to be a unity. So his allegiance to the members will be more. And that is what the family has to understand. In
Correct.
my case, she never came to an Al-Anon meeting. So she could understand why my affinity for service, why my affinity to be with my people rather than with people that I'll get disturbed.
Yeah, but
So
that is
that is
what
why
is
there
going
is
to
a
take
family
away,
group.
right, from alcohol.
Yes, yes.
So,
Yes. So he is doing what is told to him to keep away from the alcohol. First thing, this thing he says first is physical sobriety, then
mm,
is emotional sobriety, and then a spiritual awakening. So
okay.
there are 36 principles, 12 for recovery, 12 for unity,
And the service aspect is now I start working for the alcoholics by
Wow.
taking the message outside. I take it to the society by PI activities,
You
which is
become an
public
evangelist,
information activities.
sort of an evangelist.
Pardon
Amazing.
me?
You become a sort
Yes.
of an
So
evangelist.
it's like what, yeah. So what Kali Young said, na, that you got it freely, now you give it away. If you
Right.
don't give it freely, you're not in service, you will not be able to retain your sobriety.
Yeah.
So today I am associated with different organizations. In the fellowship, I work with Narcotics Anonymous also, although I've never had drugs. But I'm taking the message in the outside world, in the society.
Correct.
So I am associated with different organizations. I'm
Not
almost tempted
everybody
to
has
say
the
that one
courage.
more organization that we all know, but no.
I have
Hmm.
a question here. Everybody who has gone
Yes.
to Alcoholics Anonymous and recovered, does he do this kind of thing? Do they have the courage to come and talk about it to others, or do they just clam inside?
So, yes. So the people who see first is laying the foundation for the recovery.
Hmm.
After that, the PI activities is like suppose I go to a corporate
Hmm.
and we create awareness programs. So the people who are desirous to
Hmm.
share their experience. And here, what happens is just anybody who's desirous doesn't come along. If
Hmm.
the target audience, inverted commas, is higher management, then English
Hmm.
speaking people coming from a corporate background like me. If it is a worker, more
Correct.
from a person who's been in the worker category,
Right.
because
Hmm.
there it is dual, there are multiple, there is gambling also, he could be into drugs also. But they
Yes.
do share on different platforms through awareness. There are certain things we are told that you can do. One is anonymity, like I am doing today. You can't see
Right.
me.
Correct.
Yes. So because
Yeah.
I've shared my innermost secrets about the sexual part of it, the relational, I almost killed and everything. I could be
Yeah.
just said, yeah, this person probably not recovered and you stay away from him. I'm not like that anymore.
Yeah.
And I was
Very
not
true.
like this in any other thing except my father. So
Right.
this is something that we work extensively, and there are many. I have been in the structured service of the fellowship, which has like any other hierarchy. Over a period of time, you become an alternate delegate, a delegate, then you become a trustee. So I have
Yeah,
been
but
in the structured service.
does every Alcoholic Anonymous member do it, or only some who want to do it?
What happens is most of the alcoholics for a very long time are
Hmm.
only happy with their own recovery. They don't
Yeah.
understand the other aspects of it. So it depends on what kind of a guide. Most of the people are willing to do it. And
Okay.
but there are certain norms of doing it.
Right.
We are bound by traditions. There are
Correct.
only certain things.
They are
So it,
formed
it
for a
requires a
reason.
little bit
I
of
agree that
study.
totally. Like why anonymity is so there are those traditions are formed for a reason. Another question is,
Yes.
are there cases of relapse? People, they know they have
Yes.
been out of, and then even though they are members of Alcoholics Anonymous, do they relapse? Does the Alcoholic Anonymous come to know about it? Then what do they do about it?
Yes. So a lot of cases relapse. That's why I always say, as yet, I am sober from day one.
Okay.
As yet.
Hmm.
But I could relapse.
So you
Now
always
they
have this
say,
sword
yes.
hanging above your head, is it? Like anytime it can happen.
Not that way. It is, it is very common. I say this very commonly. It is said, somebody remarked last meeting was, I said, I put up a question, once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. It is not because of the substance.
Hmm.
He is away from alcohol, but he's a dry drunk. If he has not worked the steps or this program, which has
Hmm.
been recommended,
Hmm.
then I am resentful, I am irritated, I am discontented.
Okay.
Unless that goes away through the steps, I can fall prey. Now, it is usually because of my what we call shanpatti.
Hmm.
Arey, I am fine. I can go to the bar. Rest of the people can drink. I am going there only for music.
But
You
होता
know.
है क्या ऐसा?
So it is told, don't go to sleep. Huh? So he'll go and drink. Or I shared with somebody. I'll give you a classic example. It may sound very odd, but the real person will. In Mumbai, Andheri East,
Hmm.
there are many bars, desi bars and all, and people have to go up and down. to catch their train, come back from there. So we
Yeah.
had a member who was at that point in time 16 years sober.
Mm.
Okay. But he
Okay.
would always go from that because there was no alternative. And he would be
Right.
reminded, I'm crossing this
Yeah.
bar where at one time, this bar, I could, sit down and have my baby urga, little bit sachets and pickle and have and go home. That kind of a thing.
Yes.
So then he used to pass by and he used to see this curtain always. One
Okay.
fine day, and it is told AA is Alcoholics Anonymous. In Hindi, we call it Akhri Rasta, Akhri Adalat, and we
Okay.
also call it always aware. Nazar
Oh.
hati, durgatana ghati. You have to be aware. You have to be in the program. It's not necessary always you're walking the program, but you have to be aware that you can slip. So this person was walking by. He was very close to the doorstep, and
Mm.
inside there was this sound. Somebody opened a soda bottle.
Oh, okay.
He
That's
just
it.
walked inside.
So
That's
that is
it. 16
triggered.
years of sobriety gone. 16 years of sobriety gone.
Oh God. So very
He was,
small
for
things
that
will be the
instance, he was
trigger.
not aware. Yes, there are triggers. So that is
Mm.
why, and I say, because once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic is not because this. You have to profound psychic change is what Carl Jung said. Not personality is outside. Psychic change is like overhauling yourself.
Correct.
Internals outside,
Mm.
clean, put them back, clean your external. It takes a lifetime. So
Yes.
once an alcoholic is always an alcoholic is if you've still not worked on your character defects, on your shortcomings, you've not handed it over to God,
Mm.
because there are certain things that I realize I cannot do. If I try to do everything, I get disturbed. Then if I'm disturbed, I go to the drink.
Correct.
So he goes through this, and I keep saying,
Submission.
in the beginning, I questioned my person, my sponsor. I said, if
Sponsor.
once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic, why should I come into recovery?
Mm.
He's always going to be in. So I
Yeah.
at my point, I say, you are in recovery if you are in recovery, which
Mm.
means you will be
Yeah.
always recovered if you are in recovery in these steps, in the fellowship with the people, these principles. Outside,
Correct.
you will do work, everything, but these
So
principles
you
have to be
can't
at your
say that
core of your.
okay, now I have recovered. I can stop completely all my connections with. No, you cannot do that.
Yes.
Yes. So you
See,
need that
family is
support
something which you
in your
cannot
life.
run away from.
Yeah.
Your
You
family is
need that
something
support.
there are certain people who have been told stop working for some time. But you need your foundation of recovery. But family you cannot run away from. So that is why there are programs for the family members. One fine this thing, he's sober for 2 years, and then if you are going to be placing old resentments for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, this person is going to sleep. But if your spouse is aware, your children are made aware, everything will be fine. You don't have to react. You don't have to knee jerk. This fellow will sober down. If he is
Mm.
prodded, once he loses it, and every alcoholic loses it,
Mm.
it is after that, how does he recover? So it's not recovery only from alcohol.
Yeah.
So these are
So are
certain
the
things
triggers
that,
identified? What are the triggers that can make a person relapse? Then probably you have a list of them and then you can avoid them. Is there something like that? Or for everybody,
yeah,
the trigger can be different?
it can be different, but broadly speaking, one is the halt, which I said.
Hmm.
Halts are two types. One can be professional,
Hunger, anger,
don't
yes.
remain hungry. So we
Loneliness.
tell our newcomers, keep a chocolate in your pocket.
Huh.
You feel like an obsession, have something sweet, have
Okay.
food.
Hmm.
Some people have come to the fellowship and said, अरे खाने को पैसा नहीं है, तुम बोलता है कुछ तो खाओ. The old timers have said, पानी पी सकता है ना, पेट भर के पानी पियो. That obsession will go. So these are things, practical tips told to him inside. Angry मत रहो, कैसा नहीं रहने का. मेरे को लगता है मेरे स्पाउस को मैं मार देना चाहिए. So
Oh
then
God.
they are told, be with the fellowship people.
Yeah.
Call your person before the drink, not after, is what it is told. So we are given phone numbers. The moment I feel like having a drink, I call up my friends, my sponsor. And the moment an
Oh,
alcoholic talks to another alcoholic, his obsession is killed because my co-founder showed the way. They met for
okay.
15 minutes, they talked for 8 hours without having a drink.
Got it.
So
Yeah.
the triggers can be anything: anger, misunderstanding. So that is why the four absolutes which I talked about, you know,
Yeah.
which were done by Robert Spears, it
Anger,
says
rudeness, and yes.
absolute honesty. To thine own self be true. Don't worry if somebody else is true or not. You be true, honesty will come to you.
Got it.
Purity, absolute purity. You don't worry about who's pure or not. You be pure.
Right.
Absolute unselfishness. Because you have to give it away also, no? You have to
Correct.
be unselfish. Well, these are tough things. It's not easy. And the foundation of the fellowship is absolute love. That is where the all inclusiveness of the fellowship comes. You may be a rock bottom, you may be a chaprasi, you may be. I was told when I made inquiry, I said, what kind of people come? Because I had one typical, idea of an alcoholic. The person on the other side on the phone said, we have from a peon to a president. I said, what? He said, yes, president. We don't take names, but there have been US president, there have been Indian president, there have been politicians, there have been celebrities, there have been doctors, there have been film stars, everybody. So it's an all-inclusive thing. It is the love that you get that keeps away the guilt and the pain. It doesn't go so easy. So
Great.
somebody from outside, even a doctor who gives that, is a different kind of love than a langada getting love from a langada. So it's the group therapy that works, takes away the guilt, which is not easy. The guilt goes because he sees, okay, this fellow has gone through it. And now
So the
he's leading a
alcoholics
sober
meet
life.
separately and the family meets separately, is it?
Yes, but we
Yeah.
encourage the family first to go to an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting so they know
Hmm.
what the disease is. When a newcomer comes, they talk about the disease, the pitfalls, so they are aware. And then after 2 or 3 meetings, when they have got the gist of it, they go for their own recovery because an alcoholic creates sickness in society, your family members. A minimum of 25, 26 people are affected. People don't realize. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
a lot
That's
of
what
people
we
share, today I
hmm.
am sober, but if I raise my voice, my
Huh.
wife will shudder. I don't
Hmm.
drink for 15 years now, but if I were to shout, my wife will think the old days have come back. And then she will react, and this fellow will get treated.
Hmm.
So it goes over a period of time.
Yes. So,
There are many
are there
other
any
aspects,
do's and don'ts for
that
a person
about
who wants to
these.
recover? Viru, are there any do's and
Pardon,
don'ts for
I
a
can't hear
person?
you.
Are there any do's and don'ts,
Are there any?
do's and don'ts for a alcoholic who
The,
wants to recover?
yeah,
Uh,
your voice is cracking. Can you repeat that?
are there any do's
Are
and
there any
don'ts
do's and don'ts?
for
Hmm.
alcoholics who want to recover?
I
One
can't
is
hear
go
you.
to
But can you
Alcoholics
hear me? I
Anonymous.
have got the question.
Yes.
Okay, I have a question. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay. So, yeah. In Alcoholics Anonymous is everything of willingness, and you can't do it alone, but you alone must do it. So that is the principle. So no, there are no don'ts actually. Don'ts are from pitfalls, but
Yes.
the do's are your steps. The recovery steps are the 12 steps. Those are recommended. There are no musts. We don't say
Yeah.
you must do this. If I was told that you must be, sober for 15 years, now I'm 15 years sober, I'd say,
Right.
forget it, dear. They say one day at a time. Don't
Correct.
drink today.
Yeah.
Tomorrow is another day. If some friend comes and I've gone through this, I was told this. My friend come, Arey, let's have a drink today. It's Saturday, man. I said, not this Saturday, tomorrow. He met me tomorrow. I said, not today, tomorrow.
Yeah.
Then I said, next weekend. So these are tips that have been told. There are no don'ts, hard and fast don'ts. Yes, don't go
So,
to slippery
what do you
places.
do if an
Yeah.
old friend who with whom you used to sit and drink, he calls you up? How do you say
Hmm.
no? What do you do? Does Alcoholic
Yeah. So
Anonymous
it
bring you
depends.
those things?
No, we give them tips. I'm giving you my experience.
Hmm.
I would drink on Saturday, Sunday. There used to be 20 families that came to my house because I came from a defense background. Although I didn't drink, there used to be the choicest of liquors in my house.
Right.
5-liter bottles of Absolute, 5-liter bottles of Glenfiddich and everything.
Got it.
But when this, I would say, you can come. I'm not there, boss. I've got some meeting.
Okay.
I'm not lying. I got a meeting of alcohol. I don't have to tell him alcohol. My family didn't know for a year almost that I go to an AA meeting. When my spouse came to know, I called her because we have a gratitude day. Whenever you complete 1 year, you are given a token, and that is how we say that he is 1 year sober. So I said, "You're a family. You must come to this meeting." She said, "What made you go to Alcoholics Anonymous?" Because drink was not my problem. No, there was drink in the house, and then she asked me, "Why are you not drinking?" I don't feel like. And after I came to Alcoholics Anonymous, there were still bottles which I removed later on. My
Right.
friends from Alcoholics Anonymous came. They said, "The bottles are there. You're looking at. You don't feel like drinking." I said, "No." I talked to them. They said, "You want to have me for a drink?" I said, "No, not today." So everybody has his own style. So when
Correct.
my friends are there, I don't want to hurt him. Sorry, boss, I'm going to take my family out. Sorry, my boss has put up a meeting. Sorry, I've got a meeting that is a spiritual meeting. I don't have to say I'm going to Alcoholics. It's a spiritual meeting, and
Correct.
there is a path that I'm talking now. That's it. So the tax will come as you come to the fellowship.
Right. So, what are
Yeah.
some of those protocols and procedures of Alcoholic Anonymous and your own personal habits that helped you
Hmm.
stay free of alcohol for last 15
Hmm.
years? Right.
Yes.
What are your
Yeah.
personal strengths? What are your habits that you cultivated? Either because of Alcoholics
Okay.
Anonymous or you are in touch with many other organizations. So, you would have imbibed from many of them. So, this would be
Yes, I was involved with many other organizations, but the kind of work that the fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous has done for me is very different.
absolutely.
I was with spiritual organizations when I wanted to kill my father because I was steering spirituality into MBA.
Okay.
Just like I was steering finance and insurance into MBA verticalizations. So
Right.
I was in touch, but they were of no use to me. They
Correct.
couldn't address my problem, which is deep seated resentment, anger, and all those things, which Alcoholics Anonymous did. They could not take away the guilt. There have been people who have done grave crimes. You cannot even talk about somebody else, that kind of a thing.
Oh God.
But they have forgiven themselves. First, I was taught to forgive myself. One small thing, the difference, that my turning point when I killed my father almost, I have gone through the SSB, the Services Selection Board, and I cleared the Services Selection Board. And immediately it turned to me, here I'm wanting to kill my father. And my situation reaction test over there is that they give you one question and multiple times they'll place that question in different ways. So
Yes.
if somebody robs you of 1,000 rupees, will you kill him? I said, no. 2 lakhs? No. 2 crores? No. But if there's an enemy across the border, will you kill him? I say, yes, I will. So only in one situation I would say yes. Rest of the time, I realize that I'm not the kind of a person who will take somebody's life. Just because of resentment and anger, I am almost killing my father.
Yeah.
That was my trigger to be, and I wasn't drunk at the time when I was wanting to kill my dad. I wasn't drunk. It is that resentment which made me do it.
Absolutely.
After realizing it and that act not having, I had a drink.
Yeah. Was 12-step recovery model ka some important points, if you can just narrate, not the whole thing,
Okay.
but at least,
Yeah.
yeah, the 12-step recovery
Okay. The
model.
crux of it. See, the ultimate idea
Hmm.
is staying away from alcohol first.
Hmm.
So our people have said that the true alcoholic must concede
Hmm.
defeat. I'll come to what is concede. And they said that the alcoholic must smash the idea that he is a normal drinker in mind and in body. Now, the concede is like the best example in the fellowship that I've heard is India-Pakistan war. Pakistan has been defeated and pulverized many a times, but they have said that they have
Consider.
lost, but they have not conceded defeat. That is why the
Yeah.
Kargil will happen, or Pulwama will happen, and all these things. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm in the army background, so I can give you this example. But
Correct.
when they concede defeat, is that they say, no,
Won't
I've
do it
lost.
again.
That is
Yeah.
true surrender. Yeah. So the first step tells us you concede defeat against alcohol. He will kill you. He will
Right.
overpower you because of the obsession. And you go to
Right.
him once, he will consume you rather than you consuming him. So the first, this thing is total surrender and then
Hmm.
working on your unmanageabilities. That is our
Right.
first step. That so many spheres and they're all related to your character defects. Now I will say you will realize over this that I can't handle it. There has to be a higher power or a power greater than me that I must leave. So the concept of the belief of
Hmm.
God, higher power comes in our second step. Third step is if that concept is formed, then I
Hmm.
let go and let God. And if I
Okay.
do my God's work, which is service,
Hmm.
reaching out to another alcoholic, helping him, then God will
Hmm.
do my work. And I've experienced this. I had
Okay.
nothing. Today
Yeah.
I'm in abundance, grace to God. One last thing before I come to the last 2 points. In between, I will not go through it. You have to make amends, you got to do. But
Yeah.
it says that you got to take your personal inventory from the time you understand.
Hmm.
You know, आपने जब से जहन धारण किया है,
Hmm.
try to relate क्या हुआ मेरे जिंदगी में. Fearless and
Correct.
moral inventory of yourself. Out of
Hmm.
that, you will get the answers. Fear, it'll be related to fear, resentment, anger, to sex. A lot of,
Hmm.
sex is a big driver. We try to run away from it, you
Yeah.
know, and so we address these things. Now, when we're
Okay.
going to the 11th, it says sought through prayer and meditation. So now we are talking about alcoholic, the ism part, the spirituality part. We say sought through prayer and meditation. The
Hmm.
rest of us, it's prayer and meditation, but when? After you're
Hmm.
sobered,
Okay.
and why?
Hmm.
Because, and the 12th step, we say, because of these principles, we try
Hmm.
to take the message to the still suffering alcoholic. So these are our gateways into the citizen again. If I want to
Yeah.
be a citizen again, the
Hmm.
society which had condemned me and threw me out,
Hmm.
through this gateway, I become. You told me that you were very impressed with what I went through and all this. It wasn't easy. I had to go through these
I
steps.
know, of course, yes. It
Yeah.
must have been
So
so
it,
painful.
it's
That is why
so
I
it,
look at you
yeah.
as a warrior and a winner because I know that it's not easy.
Yeah. And I'm
Yeah,
not saying from that point. I had to go through this only then. There was no other spiritual organization which have helped me because I had to clear the wreckage of my past. I have to
absolutely.
clear it. I have to make my amends. I have to make my father be appear in that willingness. We have to make a list of willing amends that we have to make to people. I couldn't just get my father into it. I had to
Hmm.
first garner up something, get another person's experience who's gone through more than this. Then,
Okay.
after 3 years, till that time, I went into service, and service kept me sober.
Hmm.
So these 12 steps. Although we don't say must, I am saying today, for your personal recovery, you take them as a must. Nobody is going to force you, and
Yes.
you can't do it alone. But
Right.
you alone must do it. When you can't do it alone, the members are there. You hold each other's hand. That is the
Support.
unity, and do the service. So I'm associated in taking to different places through different organizations, the Narcotics Anonymous people,
Right.
Gamblers Anonymous. There are 26 such fellowships: emotional, diabetic, overeaters, 26
Okay.
fellowships following 12 steps.
Wow.
What are these? These are different unmanageabilities that they're addressing.
Right.
That is,
Like
yeah.
shopping becomes an addiction, right? When that is
Yes, yes.
that is digital addiction.
Like
So there are so many things like eating.
I've heard lately that Rotary is doing a big thing in digital de-addiction, which is now more dangerous than most addictions.
Yeah, the young people are
So
getting into it, and the thing is, the environment is supporting it. The ecosystem is supporting it. Like in many schools and all
yes.
nowadays, they are only giving them laptops, and they have to work with laptops only. So at the time, whether they are watching games or whether they are studying, parents cannot take it away. So full time it is with them, and the temptation is with them. So it is very tough to make
So
them.
taking a cue, this is exactly what happened to me. I
Yeah.
do a lot of honorary work with schools,
Mhm.
value-based education, parenting, and I talk to the school authorities. Why don't you test them? So they
Right.
say, how can we test them? I said, you are basically trying to feel the pockets of the parents,
Yeah.
whereas you can go through sensory motor skills, visual motor skills, and you can still test them, because
Hmm.
every person is potentially, dyslexic at that age.
Right.
Till fifth standard, you can't fail him. So these are another forms of addictions that come to surface: dyscalculia, dysgraphia. But these
Right.
all emanate from some unmanageability.
Yeah.
So
Got it.
these are some works. If I wasn't sober, I wouldn't have been able to do this value add. With what authority can I talk to the parents if I'm not sober?
Very true. Very true.
Yeah. So
The
first,
journey
we
does
have a
won't come
singleness
just
of purpose.
promising
Is
that the
that
journey will be easy, like
yeah?
you said. But
uh,
it is a journey which you need to take because that is what makes your life meaningful. We are there in this world only for once, and we need
yeah.
to make it meaningful for ourselves, be the best version of ourselves. We are all born with
Your
certain.
voice is breaking. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
from the public, I'm not getting
Your
such
voice is
feedback.
breaking. Anyways,
There is no voice
you'll
breaking from.
often find an anonymous member saying, "Thank God I was an alcoholic because I got this program." There are a lot of people who leave drinking on their own, but they don't get the chance to work on the unmanageabilities and the character defects. So an
Got it.
alcoholic would say, "Thank God I became an alcoholic." He's not very proud that he became an alcoholic, but he got the program.
Yes,
I
because
came to the fellowship to find, I had no friends. In the fellowship, I found friends and I found God.
I know.
I found friends and I found God.
Amazing. So, there are times when we say that you fall and then only you rise, right? So,
Yes,
if you don't fall
yes,
at all, there is no rising. So, I totally
true.
understand that and appreciate the effort that you have taken to share with everybody. I'm sure that people are taking away a lot of things. For me, like always aware, नजर हटे तो
Yes.
दुर्घटना घटी
Durga.
नजर हटी तो
Hmm.
दुर्घटना हटी फर्स्ट
Yeah.
स्क्रीन does the damage.
Nazar hati to durgatna ghati, and आखिरी अदालत.
आखिरी अदालत.
You know,
Then
the old
first
timers will say,
damage,
see,
applause,
there is
they're
a
all very
common thing they say, if you want to drink, bars are open, nobody is going to stop you. It is your problem. But if you want to stay sober, it is our problem. Come to us, we will not let you drink.
absolutely,
But we will not
absolutely.
force you, but you follow
Yes,
us, you will not drink.
yeah.
So
I
you want to
hear
be sober, it's our problem.
exactly, exactly. So there are messages here. There is Praveen Mitkar who's saying very
Hmm.
nice sharing. And Dr. Sudeshi, but I think we have answered this question. Siddharth Sudeshi is asking, what is the first sign for individual that he could be an alcoholic? So you have already answered that question. But if you still want to elaborate, Viru, you are welcome
Yeah,
to.
yeah. See, he will never realize it is made to surrender out of the circumstance, because that denial aspect is there. So we
Again,
say you come to the
give
meeting. You may
us the
not,
voice.
you
Give
don't
us
have
the
to say I'm an alcoholic. You come attend 3 meetings, you will know. That do the 20 questions, you will know.
okay.
Nobody is going to tell you that you're an alcoholic. You drink and come to the meeting also, you will be tolerated.
Yes.
Only thing, you will not be allowed to speak.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
So
Mehul has a question,
Mehul
I think.
says, hats off to you, Viru. Needs courage to talk about our mistakes. Right.
We are
So
brothers in arms.
wonderful. Of course, our president of our Rotary Club of Mumbai, addiction prevention, Dr. Neelam Gada is here. She has written excellent, deep-rooted discussion of the mental state of the recovery journey. Thank you, Dr. Neelam. Uh, you know, um, this
I
two Rotary clubs coming together, Rotary Club of Addiction Prevention and Rotary Club of Mumbai Elite. This is a beautiful collaboration that has brought about this program. We always wanted to do this,
I
Varun
would
Kapur
just
and me.
like to tell Dr. Neelam Gada, I
Hmm.
have I have known her, that she does wonderful work in this sphere, and I take inspiration from her. Is all I want to share.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Here is Dharma Patel who says, thank you for this session, Girijaji. I am so thankful for this opportunity. Um, So,
The voice
if
is breaking.
audience has any questions, if anybody wants to come, then I can share the link. I will just share the link and then we'll see if anybody wants to come up and share any personal experience or anything. Do you have the time? Are you okay?
For me,
Viru?
I am all there.
Okay,
I am
okay.
there for the
Come
Varun
and
Kapur
say something.
Foundation throughout the night if be need be.
Yes,
I'm all yours.
I posted the link. If anybody wants to join, you can join. Let's just wait for a few minutes, then we will know if anybody is coming. They will ping here. I can see the comments. So now about 516 people are watching in YouTube, but there'll be people in Facebook and other media.
Your voice is cracking, Girijaji.
I am not getting such
Okay.
message here, so I'm fine. Yeah. So
Yeah. So there are
it's
many other aspects because the more you journey, there is no destination. The more you journey, the more you find out. And the more
yeah,
you find out, the more you imbibe. Here
right,
it is said, you are the patient and you are your own doctor. Yes,
right,
we have got friends. Doctors are our great friends. But there is a different way of perception. That's all.
correct.
The person who is afflicted with drinking has a different viewpoint on everything.
Agreed. Yes, the person who has gone through will definitely have a different take on it, right?
Yes.
A doctor
Yeah.
is just a third person, but you yourself know what it
Yeah.
is that you've gone through. I
See,
happen to
one
I
of the
post this
very,
now
very
that
thing that I must share this,
yes, please do.
if you're not bodily or mentally affected and you're in the recovery of Alcoholics Anonymous, we say that don't take medicines unless it is necessary. You will get addicted to the medicines also.
Right. And without
Am
again
I
you become
audible?
dependent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
They say
thank
that
you
don't
all
take
very
medicines if you're not bodily and mentally. Because this is a psychosomatic disease. That's
right.
the problem. So for
Correct.
the psycho, there are psychiatrists. For the soma, which is your body, there are different people. When it is a psycho, it has to be the upliftment of your spirituality which had degraded. And
Got
when
it.
you come in balance with yourself, in harmony with yourself, you
Hmm.
are not agitated.
Yes, when you recognize
Yes,
what exactly are your thoughts
yes.
and you recognize that they are not in
See,
alignment
for
with
the
the
people
person
who have recovered fully, na, they
can't hear. It's completely silent. Okay. So until Viru joins, I would just like to thank Viru for the beautiful way in which he participated and shared his uplifting and inspiring journey. People go through their personal pain, but he was great to come and share it here. It requires, like many people here wrote, lots of courage to do that. So I would just like to share a poem that I read, written by a child, or from the viewpoint of a child, and the writer is David Tenson. David Tanson. Okay, and the poem is this: it is a four-letter word, and it's not kind, not love or hope. The word that best describes growing up with an alcoholic parent. So it is from written from the view of a child. So the word that describes growing up with an alcoholic parent is shit. And it lingers for years, stalking you into adulthood, smearing itself on the edge of broken promises, making reality hard to grasp, silencing speech, scapegoating smellers. It is that four-letter word. The unspoken rules, the sense you get, then you are second to a substance because they would rather booze up than buy you shoes or basic meal. By the way, best go to bed. They're still at the bottle shop. It's ST. and all the way you blame yourself, performing through perfection for attention, the swinging to rebellion, anything to be seen and loved and held more than a bottle, like Dr. Veeru, like Mr. Veeru shared. So swinging to rebellion happened to him like this. All the ways you blame yourself, performing through perfection for attention, then swinging to rebellion, anything to be seen or loved and held more than a bottle for the beloved you are, and your heart is bleeding. It's shit. And I'm sorry. And I would love to tell you, it doesn't matter. The child tells the parent, I would love to tell you it doesn't matter, but it does. Because you do, and you always have. And the deep anger and sadness that seeps is always there. The deep anger and the sadness that seeps into your personality from your scars are normal, and they exist because you know deep in yourself, deep within, that your love seeded soul, that you did nothing to deserve the neglect or the harm or the shame from that parent who may have loved you but failed terribly at loving themselves or parenting themselves with any maturity. It is shit. And I'm sorry. And I'm praying that you keep walking towards the light of healing and wholeness as slowly as you need, with guides at your side. And I'm praying that you keep walking towards the light of healing and wholeness as slowly as you need, with guides at your side. This was very heartrending coming from a child who wants that his parent recovers from alcoholism. So that was a beautiful sharing, Viru. I'm sure that people who have heard today are happy with this experience. And those who are thinking of getting into alcohol, or those who are on the brink or suffering from this malady, will definitely approach either Rotary Club of uh, Addiction Prevention or Rotary Club of Mumbai Elite, or they will definitely go to Alcoholics Anonymous. Finally, seek help, concede to yourself, and submit. There are things that are beyond our hands, and we can submit ourselves to the divine will, and definitely we will become better human beings. Thank you very much for all this opportunity. Thank you for this informative session, says Padmaja. Thank you so much, Padmaja. You're always a source of inspiration. Thank you, my dear friends, for being here, and wish you all a sober and substantial life, meaningful life always. We want, as Swachh Bharat, Sushant would have done it, and we're all here together in this mission. We want inspired youth. We want youth who lead a meaningful life, who recognize the full potential that they are capable of, who use their energies in creativity, who are innovators, who become launch their enterprises and become very successful. We look forward to a bright future for our country and for the whole world. Thank you very much. Thank you. I close the session.